So I find it funny that I make my return to long form content, making it super dark in here. I know that I can cut out silences, so I'm gonna stop right here. And to you, it'll be like I never changed anything except my shirt. Well, you don't care about cuts anyway. This post came across my dash during the Thanksgiving weekend. And I was struggling to figure out a way to extrapolate it into the thoughts that I had without retreading old ground. I keep trying to advance the narrative a little further than I think most people are used to. And I do that because I hope that in some form or fashion, what I say will eventually matter to more than just the reasoning of an online audience. It is one thing for us to mull over internet drama or this person said that or this person did this. And I struggle sometimes to stop relating things to more trendy topics. I wouldn't hope that everything that I say has to relate to current developmental issues. We're going to call them that. Developmental issues. So this is going to require me to throw things. I'm going to make a large statement here. And I'm going to spend the next portion of my time trying to explain that statement. On this supposed little brother's iPad background, he's 10. I'm feeling a bench PR tonight. Honestly, fuck girls, bro. They're so fake. This is terrifying, actually. The reason why I can't really get the ball rolling on this and I have to set up some type of background to it is because I'm, I guess, socially aware. So I could say that could be a bait post. This could be a bait post. Nobody actually has these feelings. And I'm talking from a position of this was made up for engagement and it locked me into believing this. And then I found out, oh, it was a fake post, but it could be true. We do know little boys feel like that. You've been a teacher, Marquise. You should know this. And you can see where the thoughts started rolling in. So, considering the context that I've given you, I wanted to have a conversation about how I grew up as a boy and what I notice is missing from, and I'm going to be hyper specific here, hyper specific, poor kids' background. There's a bunch of questions I want to ask. I'm going to have to answer them myself. And then there's a bunch of conclusions I'm going to make. And you're going to write in the comments what you think about these conclusions after you hit the like, subscribe, and the bell to stay notified. Bang! Woo! We popping. Let's go. First of all, ain't no 10-year-old lifting. Fuck girls, they're so fake. When I was growing up, I believed that this was also a prevailing narrative. Bitches be lying. Now, obviously, as a hormonal teenager, as a prepubescent child, you're always going to have your crushes. You're always going to have your damn I wishes, you know, all of that. You're going to fantasize about it. Like, we're being adults here. You're going to enter realms and territories of futures in your thoughts, whether through your dreams, whether through your daydreams, whether through your like little fantasies, imagination. You are indeed going to imagine or invent a future that does not and will not exist because you haven't had, one, the amount of years yet, but two, the amount of retrospect to analyze what friendships and what feelings are. Now, I could start becoming a therapist and do a whole bunch of psychology speak, but let's apply it to the real world. You are going to hate who you think you're attracted to. That's why this is so hard to start, because in my brain, I could take this whole thing in a left direction and be like, you see this on your little brother's iPod background. What if he's secretly queer? You see how, now that's a whole other conversation. Way down the road. I don't know these people's lives. I don't know what the fuck's going on. I could just be empathetic to see another conclusion to make as opposed to the one that is terrifying. So I ask a question. What's terrifying about it? Is it because we've involved ourselves in knowing that the manosphere is so powerful and run by right-wing people that when we see casually what we would have seen growing up, and this is specifically towards my generation or my age bracket, does this not look familiar? The kids are doing the same thing wrapped in different packages. Are the packages collecting themselves? Or are we simply opening one, growing up and realizing it's bullshit, tossing it aside, then judging the next group who does the exact same thing because it looks different? How many generations have had something look different? Well, I think it's pretty easy to say that sometime around the labor rights movement, kids used to work in mines. That is going too far into the past because you're like, okay, obviously things are better now than they were before. Okay. But back then, domestic violence was something that was condoned in society. Keep walking your first steps and you realize it is repeating itself over and over again. Is this an indication of a cycle? Or is this just an indication of bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks? If we take every little moment as serious, we start hyper analyzing individuals. Individuals are complex. I'm going to repeat the Men in Black quote. A person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals, and you know it. If we are afraid of a fascist uprising as adults, if we are afraid of this next Trump term as adults, do you have any connection to what your kids could possibly be feeling? And I don't mean your kids, I mean the kids. But you might have kids, so your vision is even more narrowed because I'm not raising pieces of shit. That's cool. Other people are, though. Are you homogenizing the circumstances to a point where now there are only 4 things to worry about? Make sure your boys don't rape, make sure your girls know how to defend themselves, and make sure both of those groups, however they identify, always feel safe and loved with you. That still won't stop another person from saying, you look like a Muslim, and beating them up. We already seen it happen, dog. Just because of a conflict over there, we seen it happen here. Oh, just like 9/11 and the fever. And you see how these thoughts could start flowing. You can see how these thoughts start flowing. And that's what made me hyper focus on wanting to talk about this. Because while all those thoughts are flowing, obviously I still have some main ones to go through. This actually has implications beyond what I would think about. Because then I take in the context of it being on Twitter. Twitter, like I said before, could be bait, could be a joke, could create discourse, could do that. But then I remember I'm socially aware. I'm awkwardly aware. My medication works great. My coffee biting. My bacon, egg, and cheese still got half of it right here. Like, I'm locked in for the day. I'm locked in. I'm locked in. But not everybody else is locked in. By default, being able to stream here and say, oh, I got a part-time job here, or I'm a freelancer here, whatever, that's privilege, right? I never hear the sound of war drums. Not everybody think like that. What if there is a surface level conversation that they're trying to have, or that the majority of people are trying to have, that qualifies them for an immediate sub-level conversation? Does that make sense? I will elaborate for those who don't understand what I just said. This conversation here could go in 2 different directions just based off my own interpretation of it, looking at it. It has 344,000 likes. This conversation will be dictated by the top comments. We all know that that shit is fucked. What do you do when you are a child who only knows this type of social media? I had a chatter in here a couple minutes ago talk about there weren't that many safe spaces on the internet. Okay, the internet was another third space, right? That's been homogenized into your life. So you've got no third spaces outside and you've got no third spaces inside. What conversations are you then having? With what type of group? What type of interests? What type of qualifications? It is not enough to say all of this could be fake, because I know boys that feel like that. I've taught boys that feel like that have grown up in the rough backgrounds that I've grown up. I've helped them to express their emotions. That feeling will still come out. So why do you attribute it to the manosphere? That's like my first thought is when I see up there, I don't care if the account is two 21-year-olds talking to each other. This is terrifying, actually. Why? Why is this why can't you initiate? So assume being me at this point in this conversation between us, right? You might say, scroll down to the comments. Maybe they're talking about the thing you're talking about. I planned this segment so far into the future that I accidentally forgot what the replies were. So we are going to experience this for the first time together. Little boys being indoctrinated into hating women isn't scary to you, which absolutely obliterated a ratio, which is a ratio. That's why I say I respect the ratio. You can't deny the ratio. I'm gonna be honest with you. If you ever online and you having a conversation and you getting ratioed, you could be absolutely right. You gotta shut up. It's just the law. It's the law. It's always been that way. 1v1 me, Rust. 1v1 me, Fleet. I don't want to hear nothing. Like, yeah, you just gotta take the L. But that poster made this their grand conclusion, not the piece that you are listening to right now. Now, of course, within these 544 comments and these 12,000 quote tweets, the conversation could exist. But we're still talking about kids here, right? And the implications of certain conversations. Were you online 10 years ago? Were you around in the Kik messaging era? Were you around for AIM, Windows Live Messenger, Skonex? Like, I get that with technological advances, there are probably people from the 40s that are like, damn, a car can do what now? But there's also Cybertrucks on the road. You could equate and equivalate play with every single facet of technological advancement. Assume the same thing as always. The children who are watching, noticing, hearing only get at max 2 hours. At max 2 hours to digest everything while they're doing homework and trying to have a social life. Never mind how their parents are raising them. Never mind if they have enough food at home. Never mind if they get bullied. Like, we're excluding all factors and just leaving it to those two. Assume the same thing every time. Assume the same thing every time. Every child's reflection of the earth is based on what you do now. And I say you because whether you're 50, 40, my age, we're supposed to be combating the manosphere. The left needs a Joe Rogan. No, we don't start conversations and think about things until a hit tweet. Oh my God, a hit tweet! And then because it's a hit tweet, it'll drop out of the discourse. And nobody cares about the fallout because we're on to the next discourse. There is no place where the conversations slow down to a crawl. We're all chasing the YouTube money. Capitalism is at play here. The game of art and commodification. But you still spent money on ringtones, knowing now you can open these phones and jailbreak them and or root them. Some devices, I didn't even know this before. You don't even got to go through the whole process of rooting your phone, Android, like you used to. I didn't even know this till just now. Not just now, but like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, they got new root kits. They just one app install. You don't even got to root it. You can download a store that gives you rooted apps. I ain't know that. So that culture is gone. Nobody's trying to Pandora. Can you Pandora my battery? My PSP battery? Can you get a Pandora on my shit? That culture is gone. The people who were raised upon it have had that culture stripped from them way too fast. So they're trying to catch up. At the same time as the kids are advancing, getting better at it. You're seeing more short films. Better comedy is insane right now. I used to think to myself that my friendships would absolutely be secure because even though technology was out while we were around, and I mean communications technology, BlackBerry Messenger, we had the sidekicks and everything, cell phones, like we had the same things, but nothing ever replaced seeing each other. Then the pandemic hit and people made it like the implication was online is where it's at. So many distortions. How can you possibly conclude a genuine feeling from just seeing this. So the loudest voices are just as clueless as what they're complaining about, which causes an inevitable fucking whirlwind. Go back to what I said before. You might have kids. If I saw that on my kid's phone, my first reaction wouldn't be, are you watching Fresh and Fit? Because I know my kids. Not everybody know your kids though. Community would solve this entire issue because moms on the block, we know everybody's kids. We don't, the internet's raising our children. You keep handing them the iPad. I hate that. Don't ever say that shit again. I'm sorry. Sidebar. Don't ever say that shit again. Everybody had to have the internet during the pandemic. So we're done with the whole raising kids. Like we're there with that one, okay? And in all these extrapolations, I kept scrolling. The replies of adult men praising a 10-year-old for hating women is so goddamn bleak. If you post this with a blue check mark and you're a real person, that's a real thought. Why? How do you, if I click this and I hit the replies and I see one anime profile picture, if it's not 18 real people, new Mecca. Like, what are we talking about? But the problem is the adult men online that are going to validate and encourage him instead of letting him grow out of it. He's not seeing it. Oh my God. And it's like, dog, there's only like, I don't want to go to fucking Tumblr. I don't want to go to like some weird ass splinter of a 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 splinter of Hassan's Discord to like have a meaningful conversation about the most mindless shit. But like, I really do feel like at this point, introspection should be like you gotta ask yourself why you think shit. You just have to at this point, because you're hearing so many opinions that agree with you and you're shutting out the ones that don't agree with you. And like the ones that agree with you aren't even agreeing with your point. They're agreeing with you, the personality. And you don't even add the implications of that. I got 46K likes. You only got 300. Clearly I'm correct. And like you'll walk through life. You'll walk through life like that. I've seen y'all do that shit. Kids emulate it. I remember when coronavirus was first being talked about, and I had some 6th grade boys repeat the shine. It is a virus and doing the coughing. I was there. Is that the parents' fault? The internet? Are they repeating a meme? Do they not have the reasoning to understand why that would be a bad thing? Do I teach them that? Am I supposed to step in that way? Where are they getting it from? All of these questions are just answered by one thing. They're fucking kids. They're children. What the fuck are you doing having a discourse about when did it become so normalized to be so brutish, especially so fucking young? When I was 10, I didn't even cuss. Yo, this is honestly terrifying. How are we letting a 10-year-old boy think that girls are girls are stupid? Click the profile and you're just posting. You're posting to get money because you're blue checking. That's why you're literally retweeting everything and like not focused on anything. Like, but this will be the driving force for the kids who somehow have made a Twitter account. They're now 13. And the first thing they see is, oh my God, that's so funny. This is so funny. And then the first reply they read is, I don't find anything cute about turning your son into a misogynist at 10 years old. And if we're at the helm of Elon Musk, if we're going to open this conversation to the obvious points, if we're at the helm of Elon Musk, how bad is it on Facebook? How bad is it on Instagram? How bad is it on TikTok? I see the splinter conversations. Y'all having gender wars over a fake. Go all the way back to the beginning of this. This picture could be fake, and you're adjusting your lifestyle to it instead of having some type of internal discourse about maybe, does that reflect anything about how you grew up? Who broke your heart? Who broke your heart? But instead, I'm gonna see my YouTube video and like 40 others once they start recommending it to me about the manosphere and why it's trouble. This is why you can't beat it. No, Hassan should not be the next leftist Joe Rogan. Dog, all of us could be Joe Rogan. You just don't know how to talk to people anymore. The ending conclusion to this entire video is quite literally, the reason why this conversation exists is because nobody knows how to verbalize their thoughts anymore. You're not around people that challenge you in any way. You're not around people that make you feel some type of way. Talk about echo chambers online. Go look at your offline life. I'm not saying you gotta agree with somebody who wants to deport migrants, but like when you both agree on things, but they verbalize it in a way where it's just like, what do you mean by that? Unpack that. And to wrap this beautiful bagel into a nice sandwich here, we're gonna attempt one final thought that you can answer in the comments down below. Focus here. Could it be possible that you haven't had a real conversation in a long time that wasn't produced by some sort of trauma or stress that has made you think uniquely? When is the last time you've had to think uniquely? Who were you around? What came of it? Do you notice that those experiences are both universal and hyperspecific? If so, why? If not, why? Okay, this is the end of the video. I'm supposed to say something cool here. I dropped 2 new tracks, so you can go check those out. Man, this guy's videos suck! Imagine watching this shit. Anyway, definitely go check out some other videos. I'm sure some have popped up on the screen by now. And if so, not, or whatever, I don't know. Yeah, 10,000 subscribers by the end of 2024, and we're at 1.6K, 3K, so I don't know, share my shit, make a clip or something. I don't know, man. Help a brother out. Big money, salvia. Big money, salvia. Big money, salvia, salvia, salvia. Internet comment etiquette will never know I do that. Stole this whole flow, bar for bar, bar for bar, bar for bar, word for word, flow for flow. Big money, okay, I'm gonna stop now. Big money, salvia.